just going to close that. I'm just going to close that to cut down on the light. It's right in my eyes. Just to close that because it's right. The light's right in my eyes. That's so quiet. All right, well, it looks like it's about 7 o'clock. Well, welcome to the May beekeeping meeting. So how many people are brand new? This is the first time being here? Wow, quite a few, huh? Quite a few. Excellent. Well, welcome. My name's Brian Aguirre. I'm the president of the Benton County Beekeepers Association, the new president this year. So today, we've got a couple of different topics that we're going to talk about. And the first one is, what is that, huh? Pollen and honey and stuff. Pollen, nectar, honey. And then, of course, the dreaded pests. Boo, 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 boo. All right. So according to the University of Arkansas Extension, this is what bees would be doing in April, right? They're out there foraging. Brood production should be in high gear. Crowded hives are likely to swarm. How many people actually have hives right now? So a couple? Okay, great. What have you been seeing in your hives right about now?
They're busy.
They're busy?
They're very busy. I had the small opening and had not opened the larger side, and there was like a traffic jam trying to get in and out of my hive. So I flipped that open, but yeah, they're busy.
Have you done an inspection?
Pardon?
Have you done an inspection?
Yes.
Yeah. Brood, eggs?
Lots of larvae.
Lots of larvae?
Lots of eggs. Some honey.
Some honey?
Pollen.
Pollen? How about you, Ryan?
All those things and wax everywhere I don't want it.
Wax, that's what I have. Wax everywhere I don't want it. Sir, how about you? How's your hives looking?
Well, I've got two that are very strong, and one that I've combined together. That is, I've ordered queens for. The queens in those two boxes are failing.
Oh. All right, well, according to the, this is what we as beekeepers should be doing according to the Arkansas beekeeping calendar, based on, again, from the University of Arkansas Extension. We should be examining a hive every 8 to 10 days for queen cells and swarming activity. All right. If weather's poor for flying, some feeding may still be needed. Is anybody feeding right now? Other than maybe queen production? You definitely want to do that.
I'm going to start next week.
Start feeding?
Yes.
You're going to do a split though, right? Yeah.
I hope so.
All right. Mail order package bees and queens will begin to arrive. I know that. I received a package actually this morning from Georgia, and I have 5 more that were shipped this morning from Georgia. So those should be here probably over the weekend. All right. Now, as we're going into May, this is kind of what the calendar tells us, right? The honey flow will be near its peak in the hilly areas of Arkansas. Queens will be producing quite a bit, and swarms are still possible if they're too crowded. And some of the things, adding queen, do you use queen excluders? How about you? Do you use a queen excluder?
I have one, yes.
Do you use it?
I'm going to.
Just
yes.
okay.
I have it on right now. I have a smaller hive and medium on top, and I put a
Queen excluder?
queen
Yeah.
excluder between it and the two bottom rear boxes.
Okay, cool. And of course, super hives as needed to be taking advantage of the flow and getting some of that honey. All right, so that was my kind of question. What are you seeing out there? We kind of have that. All right, so basically, just for those that don't, if we're not familiar, differences. Main thing, pollen is really the nutrients, the protein, the fats, other things. So of course, queen rearing, pollen is extremely important when you're trying to raise babies and stuff, brood production. Nectar, of course, sugars, oils, vitamins, and of course, that's what gets turned into that honey that we love so much. This is just a generic slide about the importance of honeybees, but if we're interested in honeybees or we're beekeepers, we probably know those types of things, right? Pollinators, significant economic contributors. A lot of your commercial beekeepers, they make a lot of their money on pollination services, right? Moving hives all over the country. The big one, of course, is can't think of the word right now. I eat them all the time too. Almonds. Yeah, almond production. Right? All right, there's, oops.
What was that name again?
Want to help save the bees? The best place to.
I'm sorry?
What was the name of that company again?
Was it for almonds?
Oh, for almond production. There's all kinds of, that's just where the big money, sending everything to California is big money. It's about over now this year, but getting ready. So this just has to deal with feeding bees.
Want to help save the bees? The best place to start is right in your garden. Today, a quick guide to planting bee-friendly flowers. Bees love flowers with open faces and lots of nectar. Top picks, lavender, coneflower, bee balm, orange, and clover. Choose a mix of shapes and colors to attract different kinds of pollinators. Plant early bloomers like crocus and dandelion. Mid-season workhorses like salvia and mint, and late bloomers like goldenrod and asters. Fall flowers can make the difference between a hive surviving or starving through winter. Avoid pesticides. Even we-safe sprays can linger on petals and harm pollinators. So dig in, plant with purpose, and your garden will be buzzing in no time. Learn more at mountainsweethoney.com.
That's a plug for them because that's where I get most of my bee packages from. I've had I've had good success with them in terms of, plus they produce on their website, Mountain Sweet, they've started recently producing quite a few of these 60-second guides to different things. And so it's nice. It's to the point. It's not having to watch 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes and still not get to the point, whatever the topic is. All right. So as I mentioned, there's different seasonal blooming, right? We think about different times of the year for bees for their subsistence. There's a picture with her pollen pants packed in, getting ready to take it back to the hive. I love that sight. Nothing like standing out in front of the hives, watching them come in with those all packed in. Okay, some of the early bloomers here in Arkansas, that we say, red maple, willow, dandelion. Right? I always have signs and I always tell folks, don't kill those dandelions, let them grow. Those are a nice early source of nectar and pollen for our bees. Our yard looks terrible because I keep all of the dandelions. My dad was extremely critical of his lawn. His lawn was everything. Manicured a certain way. When I cut the grass, I had to cut it a certain way, certain direction. And my sons that grew up in that area, same thing, they work with him. So now that I have my yard looking a mess, I always send them pictures of it and say, what do you think Grandpa would think if he saw these pictures of what this looks like? And they're like, yeah, I said, right now he'd be rolling over in his grave if he could see this. But have a sign on the front. It's for the pollinators, right? I'm trying to, not just our honeybees, but others. Summer bloomers, right? Some of the different things help them out in summer. And then, of course, the fall. Goldenrod. Consider native plants. That first slide showed that video that I played was from Pollinator Partnership. I'm a part of that as well, and one of their big things is if you're planting gardens, consider native plants. Lots of different benefits. Of course, they're adapted to local conditions, things like that. Arkansas University Extension and such has some pretty good resources on that as well about doing native plants. That's what we're setting up right now, is we're getting ready to turn part of our garden into a native plants and such. Of course, lots of threats to bees, right? Pesticides, habitat loss with expansions, climate change, and of course, pests. Right? So that's my next topic. I had some small hive traps and I meant to bring them. I get the box out, set them by, and I walked right out the door without them. So if you want some small hive beetle traps, the kind that you put in between the frames, you can put oil or something in the top, text me or something and I'll get them to you, because I was ordering some and I wasn't paying attention. Oftentimes I do all of my Amazon ordering when I'm in bed, laying down, watching TV at night, and I don't wear my glasses and I really can't see that well without them. And so I'll sit there and text, and I meant to just order a few, and I got a box of, I think, a couple hundred in there. So
They work though. I
yeah.
got them in my hives.
Yeah, so I've used them, and like I said, I was just trying to get a few more and just not paying attention. I got quite a few. People put all kinds of different things in there. Vegetable oil, mineral oil. Do you use them at all? Yep.
It works.
Yeah, I keep thinking about it and I keep losing them.
Yeah.
Well, you have some.
Yeah, if you want any, I got a ton of them. I mean, I meant to bring that box. I meant to bring it last month and I forgot. And today, since I was installing that package, I was out in the yard and I said, let me grab that box and bring it in the house from the shed. And I brought it in the house and set it down, and then I completely forgot it. Walked out the door, making sure she had the key to the building. That was you have the key, right? You didn't forget it, right? Okay, great. Of course, I left the box that I want. I wanted to bring two things, and I left both of them there. So, all right, it's just kind of the life cycle. Eggs hatch in a couple of days, larvae mature in a couple of weeks, and adults, the little pesky adults, can live up to 6 months and cause us all those problems that we hate. The different things they do, of course, they can damage honeycomb, ferment the honey. I did have my first year, I had one hive that didn't really control the beetles that much. I didn't do a good job, and they were kind of weak, and they didn't, and ended up with some of this slimy comb, and it's really gross looking if you've ever seen it. It's really, really, really gross looking. All right. Some of the things you can do to prevent, and this is why I was going to bring that box and say, hey, I got some of these traps right here. As it says there, mineral oil, apple cider vinegar. I've used mineral oil. I haven't tried that. Chemical treatments, I don't do any of those. Some say essential oil, wintergreen in particular oil works well. I can never say that word correctly on the bottom there. Diatomaceous earth, I use that. That has been very good. Put that, particularly, I have the Apime hives and the bottom is vented. So when the beetles fall down, if there's diatomaceous earth in there, they're not getting back up in the hive at all. They're done.
And you can get that at Lowe's.
Yes, you can get that at Lowe's. And you can even get the food safe version if you're concerned about that. Right. You can't eat it. It doesn't hurt. All right, then the big one, our nasty varroa, right? The big topic that all kinds of beekeepers talk about, right? Varroa mites. A lot of interesting things going on with Varroa. So here's our 60-second guide, my plug for Mountain Sweet Honey.
Time for a 60-second guide to help defend your hive from hidden threats. Start with the Varroa check. Use a CO2 kit or an alcohol wash for a reliable mite count. If you see 3 mites per 100 bees or more, don't wait. It's time to treat. Next, check for nosema. Look for streaks on the hive and confirm with a microscope if needed. Scan brood frames for signs of foul brood, sunken caps, discolored larvae, and a foul smell. Always follow label instructions when treating, and rotate products to avoid resistance. Keep detailed hive notes. Tracking your checks and treatments is just as important as doing them. Healthy bees build strong colonies. Stay ahead of pests, and give your hive its best season yet. Learn more and find products to protect your bees at mountainsweethoney.com. Spring is here, and it's time for a 60-second guide to help defend your hive.
Come on. I don't buy any other products from them, but I have, well, this is the second year of getting bee packages from them. Okay, so Varroa mites, as we know, a parasite. It feeds on the honeybee body. Big problem is they're a vector for viruses, and many say they're a cause of major cause of colony collapse all wide. Until a few years ago, they were only not on Antarctica and Australia, and now they're in Australia. So the only place that doesn't have Varroa, but they probably don't have bees in Antarctica, right? That's the only continent they're not. So they got little tiny jackets on to go there. So they made it to Australia not too long ago.
So someone brought this up yesterday. I was doing a demonstration with the Cub Scouts. Someone said, "Oh, did you hear that there was like 62% of all the hives died?"
Yeah.
And that's commercial hives.
Commercial.
But
Yep.
Where commercial goes, we tend to just follow
Yes.
But 62% of all hives died last year.
Yeah. Yes. Commercials, and there's great videos on YouTube. The hives showing up, they go in pallets, truckloads going to the almonds. And then when they get there, of course, they're inspected because they get paid by how many frames of bees are in there. And they're finding all kinds of dead bees and stuff. And they have rows and rows of just hives with dead bees. They just died on the way there. And a lot of it, nobody knows 100% for sure, but a lot of it is being blamed right now on the Varroa. I saw a study just recently because Saturday I was at a pollinator or an Earth Day event. I think I sent you guys pictures of it. And I had some literature for that. And some of the commercial beekeepers are up to 75% as of March from last June. From June to March, they're up 75% losses. Commercial folks typically plan 40%, 50% they can live with, because you just split your hives and then you're right back where you were, right? If you lose half, you can split the ones you got, but 65, 70% is really going to be hard for them to recover from. So that's going to be a big thing. Nationwide, yes, nationwide. So this is kind of the Varroa life cycle, right? They reproduced in the capped brood cells. I learned just recently how they actually reproduce. Okay, it's kind of gross. It's actually pretty gross, but the female mite goes into the cell just before it's capped. It gets capped. The first egg that she lays is a boy egg. The next eggs are all girls. So the brothers mate with their sisters, and they mate through transfer the male sperm to the female through their mouths. Through their mouths, which is totally disgusting. So I like to say you can get pregnant from kissing if you're a Varroa mite, because that's how they reproduce. They prefer drone brood because drone brood takes a little bit longer, right? Drone brood takes a little bit longer. They're capped longer so they can grow more. And they can double in numbers in every 3 to 4 weeks. Of course, I have to have a little video. When to treat. Usually you use an alcohol wash or a sugar roll to estimate mite levels. This is just a, see if I can.
Sam, that I want to show you with this. So if you don't know what Roxanne is,
That's, sorry, that's not in the right place yet. All right. That's actually the wrong video for there. We'll play that in a moment. Treatment thresholds, they say about 3 mites for every 100 bees. How do you check for varroa? How do you do it?
I do a sugar roll.
Sugar roll? Yeah. How about you? Do you do a varroa check?
I've got the bottom tray.
Uh-huh.
And I've got a whiteboard.
Okay, so you do the drop. You do the check for the drop. I do the sugar roll as well. This year I'm going to try that, what they showed in the first one with the CO2, where you kind of knock them out and shake them up. Sugar roll is you basically take powdered sugar, you put it in a container, and you roll it around the bees in it, and that helps to knock some of the mites off. Plus, it helps the bees groom each other and help knock some of the mites off.
But it's all in a little, like a can with a mesh lid.
Yeah, that's a,
So bees in there, and the powdered sugar in there. You just give it a gentle shake, and for some reason,
oops, sorry.
knocks the mites off. And so then you can just shake out all the sugar and the mites, put the bees back in the hive, and they're all covered in sugar, and everyone thinks they're delicious. And put a little water on the sugar, and it dissolves.
Then you just count the red dots, basically.
So the two main ways of an alcohol wash, which is really precise, but it kills all the bees. So you can either like do that and package it and take it home if you don't like it or whatever, but you get a really precise number. Sugar roll is a little less precise, but less lethal. But like everything, you're straight on.
Now, there is some recent research by the folks that have nothing better to do but research this, and they say actually the bees that come out of the sugar roll don't actually live very long after that. They die anyway. So I don't know. I haven't read it all. I'm way behind in all my reading, but certainly the alcohol. I mean, when you put rubbing alcohol in there and you put the bees in, they're dead. I mean, there's nothing. Another approach that a lot of people are using now is also Dawn liquid dish soap, because it's so liquidy and it helps get all the mites off. Of course, it kills the bees, but again, they say it's a more accurate count. I don't know. Go ahead.
Do you guys ever pre-treat instead of waiting until you see the mites and you do a test? I've kind of seen some people on the roll like that. They talk about using the strips or like some essential oil combination.
Yeah.
They spray before.
Yes. I haven't personally, but I'm going to do things like that this year. But I have not personally ever done that. But
I also don't pre-treat. Treating bees for varroa mites, while it's not like a major pain in the butt, it's a little fuzzy because there are not that many treatments available. Each one has fairly precise temperature range, application, time window, honey safe, not honey safe. And so it's one of those things that to me, like I'm not going to do it unless I have the mite load to warrant the effort or the cost. Some beekeepers will pre-treat. And if you have lots of hives, they'll do like, sample one hive, and if that's got it, they just follow the treatment. But it's one of those things, you get a lot of different answers about that one.
And on that note about the different treatments, we're going to go over some, and that's what this video is actually something I'm going to try this year, which takes a lot of that concern about temperatures and when you do it off the table. Right? So again, best practices, monitor. Oh my gosh, he really wants to talk. Okay, so different treatment options, of course, chemical, organic, and mechanical, non-chemical methods, right? Chemical, these are the common chemical ones. They tend to be effective, but as we said, they're resistant. They can build up in the wax. Mites can become resistant to them. And also, as we said, you get a lot of these have specific conditions that you have to pay attention to, and temperature, and when you can do them, and whether or not you have honey supers on. Organic, oxalic acid, formic acid, thymol. Thymol is more temperature sensitive. Lower risk, lower resistance risk, can be effective at different times. Do you use oxalic acid?
I want to, not yet.
Not yet? You don't need a vaporizer.
We finally done the strip sponge
That's what I was going to get to. All right, so this is a relatively new product that is oxalic acid in a strip. And that was where the video was supposed to be. So we'll show him briefly talk about it.
Roxanne that I want to show you what it is. So if you don't know what Roxanne is, it is an oxalic acid glycerin strip that is brand new on the market that beekeepers are really excited about. So this is you can use it any time of the year. It's safe when you've got honey boxes on, and it is this right here. So this is a cardboard strip. You get one of these packs, and it's got 60 in there. You only need maybe 3 to 4, or even the max is 6, probably 2 for a new. But that 3 to 4 range is the right amount for typical hive. So it goes right over the frame, just like this. You kind of hold it, and it goes right over the frame like this. 42 to 46 days, and then you can pull it out. We're really excited about this, and if you want it, we've got it at Lockdown Bee Company. There's an order on the website. It's very limited supply. We're going to run out again until we can get a container in the US and have it available. So I'm excited about it. We're spring and autumn. Check out our website and our blog for more information.
Okay, it is not as difficult to get now. That's when it was first introduced into the country. It is approved, I believe, in every state right now except New York. I could be wrong on that, but it is approved for all states now. But basically, it's a slow-release oxalic acid treatment in the boards. It's effective. It's safe. No detectable residues. Use 1 or 2 strips. Fold it and hang it as he showed. And another neat part, you can leave it in there for 42 to 56 days. Right? And the whole idea of it is the bees are walking over it. They're spreading it throughout the hive. And really for oxalic acid to be effective, you know, having the vaporizers are great. You throw some vapor in, but you got to do it repeatedly. You know, and I was just reading some research yesterday, whereas the sweet spot seems to be about every 5 days when you're going through treatment. So that allows the bees to hatch and some of the mites that are under the cappings to get. Because if you vaporize, it doesn't go under the capping, so all you're getting is what's on the mites. Majority of, on the bees, I'm sorry. The majority of your mites are under the cappings. So when you just vaporize once, you're not really doing much. So researcher down in University of Florida, where I'm a student in the beekeeping program, he gets to just study mites and oxalic acid, and he came up with the sweet spot, he said, is about 4 to 5 days when you're applying it every 4 to 5 days. Also, unfortunately, he recommends 4 times the legal limit that is allowed. He said, actually doing the legal amount that's, you know, as we say, the label's the law, what it says on the label to do, that's what you're supposed to do. And he's working with grants and stuff to try to get that number up, because he said using the actual, what's on the package doesn't do a hell of a lot. But these are nice because you can put them on there for 45 to 56 days, not temperature sensitive. You can put them on when you have honey supers on. They recommend, according to the label, and I hadn't got through it all, but they recommend that if you are using them in the brood box at the bottom, that you have 1 box between them and the honey that you're going to collect. If it's honey you're going to leave for the bees, that's fine. And it's just a recommendation. There's no necessarily requirement for that, but that's what they do recommend, is you have it 1 box between. And it can be, if you're using large, regular size boxes, you can put a medium in between and then put another, just a box separation. Lots and lots of studies out there show it's been up to 98.6% effective in mite reduction. One that I was reading, they tried it with low mites and high, and they were able to really clean up the high infestations using these. Year-round use. And again, they haven't so far found any residual in wax or honey, and bees seem to respond to it very well. So I say it's pretty safe, simple to use, excellent tool. I'm going to try it this year. I bought a pack, just came in. So if those of you that have some, I'm not going to need I don't think I got a 60 pack. I don't remember. I have to look at it. I thought I got a 20, but they may have been out, and it was nighttime. I was laying in bed, so I may have ordered 200 of them. I don't know. I don't know what I got. I just keep the Amazon receipt card away from her. I don't show her the card.
How pricey is it?
As it was showing on that, right now, I think I think I did get a 60 because I tried to order a 20 and I believe they were out. It was like $80 or something like that. I'd have to look at it. But if anybody that has bees now would like to try that, because once you open it, you're supposed to apply, and I don't have nearly enough hives to use them up. 2-year shelf life from the date of the manufacturer. So yeah, when I open it, I only have a couple hives that I'm going to try it in. And so if anybody wants to try some as well, I'd be happy, more than happy to give you some to let you try. Yeah. No need to buy it. I've already paid the expense. It's a sunk cost for me, so I'd be happy to give it to you. Same thing. Make sure if you do want it and you don't have my phone number, get my phone number, give me a shout. I'd be happy to give you some, okay? And I would love to know your results as well. Okay. All right, some of the non-chemical strategies: drone brood removal, screen bottom boards, splitting hives, brood breaks. I relied quite a bit last year on brood breaks because I'm not really that big into trying to produce honey. So I'm not worried about not having a bunch of bees to make honey. So I did do, and it seemed to be very effective. When I did I never had more than, when I did my mite checks, I never had more than 3 per 100 the entire time. And so my brood breaks did seem to be somewhat effective. And all I did was I have a little cage that I put on the queen on a frame. So she's confined to just a little area for a little while, let some of the other brood. And there's nowhere for the mites to get in because there's nothing being capped. And so
I noticed when I did my check last week that I had a lot of the drone cells.
yeah.
Do I need to get rid of them?
That's completely up to you. Right now the bees are building up, and so they need boy bees out there. So, so that's why you probably have so many drones, is because it's that time to start building up. Usually before the honey flow and before the bees, they have to have drones out there for the queens to mate. So that's just kind of the basic. I did try the green frames, the green frame. I didn't have much success with it. You did? Really?
I'm sorry, green frame?
A green frame is a frame. It's just for the drones. It's a bigger cell. The drones require a bigger cell to grow in. And so by putting it's colored green, so it sticks out. You can see it. And the bees will theoretically, when they want drones, that's where the queen will lay the drones.
Is that because it has the imprint
It's
on the...
Yeah, it's set so they can make the bigger. It's set so they can make, but they can make smaller ones if they want. Mine put honey in it. Mine, I had them on the outside. I had one in each of my bottom brood boxes. Well, I normally just do a single brood box, but I had one in 4 hives. Every one of them put honey in it. Every one of them. Yeah, my drones they put on the bottoms of the frames, and that's where they put honey there. And I'm like, you have honey upstairs. Why are you putting it down there in the brood frame? But so I didn't have much luck, but I tell you, I did have a lot better luck with the brood breaks. But I didn't have a bunch of bees being made either, because of course there was a break. Again, best practices are to try different things. Certainly, if you use the chemicals, you really have to be careful because of the, I didn't mean to do that. Because of the resistance to them, you can't do the same thing over and over, because then you end up raising resistant mites along with your bees. So they always recommend switching up different methods.
So you didn't mention I think it's called Happy Guard?
Yeah. I did. I've never used it.
It's in a little...
Yeah, Nectar is the gel on the tray.
Yeah, yeah,
Take it all over the hive.
yeah. They take it all over the hive. I'm really excited to try these strips this year. I'm going to do a once I get settled this month. I'm going to do a quick mite count check, and I'm going to, regardless of what the numbers are, I'm going to use those anyway. But I just wanted to do a quick check. Again, I'm done with the trying to remove the drone. So if anybody needs green drone frames, once I get the bees out of it, I'll give you those. I get a bunch of those.
Talk about wax moths.
I did not talk about wax moths at all yet, and I did not include them in this particular discussion because I just simply ran out of time. This is I love this little cartoon. That's why I had to get it. The first rule of Mite Club is you don't talk about Mite Club. I just love that. They're beating up the mites in there. Varroa sensitive hygiene, VSH, bees, and natural defense. This is what I'm working on as a project this year as well. What is it? It's a trait of honeybees, heritable, that can be passed on, right? They detect and remove mite-infested brood. Now, again, that is somewhat questionable. Not all bees that are VSH remove the brood, but the big thing is their ability to detect something wrong under the cappings, right? And what what they're finding with more study is the bees, by breaking open the cappings, break the mite reproduction cycle. Thank you. And that reduces the infestation. By breaking those open, the females that are alive in there end up being not able to reproduce. And so you still have quite a few mites, but they're not able to reproduce. So once those mites die out, they're gone. And so this is what I'm trying this year. I have 3 queens right now that I have. And we're going to see how it works. And that's another reason why I'm not going to need a lot of the strips that I bought, because I'm not going to treat those, those are going to be not treated to see how they actually, if the queens panned out. But again, the mites reproduce, they uncap them. Some of them do remove the bees. Other times, depending on when they uncap them, though, it messes with the mites reproduction, and then they can recap it, and the bee that's in there can still live. So they're finding a lot of neat stuff by studying it.
And this is a special type of queen.
Yes, it's a queen with certain traits. Yeah. So these are some of the benefits. Buy queens. That's what I did. I have 3. I have 3 right now. That I'm going to try out. I'm still waiting. I need a few more bees before I can release all 3 of the queens and let them take over the hives. That's why I have an extra queen right now, is because I replaced her with one of my VSH queens. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to do right there, is kind of see how it works and see if it makes any difference. Again, don't tell the wife how much I paid to buy those queens. That's one of the few items I didn't order on Amazon. I had to go to different breeders.
So do they think that queen, like the future queens that it would produce?
Yes, that's the idea. There's going to be a certain amount of time when she's laying eggs, and when those become queens, that they're going to also, but that, as it's heritable, that'll go away in time, so you'll have to replace it with another. The ones I bought are purebred. They're actually artificially inseminated. They're all that. Sir?
Okay. You said that you normally have less than 3 mites per 100, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what is your standard to see whether or not your VHS or your VHS bees are working?
There's a testing method, and actually when I'm almost done with this, I can call it up on YouTube and show you. It's really kind of neat. No, it's a different method. It uses a specially designed spray. The UBO, that's what it's called. Yeah, UBO. There's other ways. Some do the Harpo method. The old the old method was using liquid nitrogen, and you freeze a part, but of course that's a little bit more difficult for average beekeeper to do. All right, so again, regulatory monitoring, and I had to do a plug for University of Arkansas Extension because I do work for the University of Arkansas, so throw a plug out there for them. Some of the spots. These folks really, Honeybee Health Coalition, Varroa Guide, they have some really good information on their sites as well. I think that's the last slide. So let me just get the UBO real quick.
UBO is really new.
Yes.
2.5 years old.
Yeah.
It's a very new method of checking for this kind of stuff.
Yep. It was actually started as a person's dissertation project for her doctorate. And then it's gone off from there, and
Got an extra B in there.
yeah. Oh, I'm a terrible speller. She always, she's always said, how are you the one with a doctorate? You can't spell. Well, you didn't have to be able to spell for a doctorate. Exactly, spell check. I was looking for a short video on it. Let me go to.
While he's looking at the Varroa, the oxalic acid strips, those have been in use like all over the world, except in the U.S.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of beekeepers and researchers have been trying to get that allowed here for a long time. Finally, in the past 2 years, it was allowed to start.
Yep.
But it's been used successfully everywhere else. We're one of the last countries to use it.
And it took a while, even when it became in the U.S. I was going to go to.
To take that kind of hard science and turn it into something that was useful to people.
That's what it is right here.
And so, what do you do with this?
Basically, this is what you do. You spray a certain area with the spray. You come back 2 hours later, and if you have Varroa VSH bees, you can count how many of the cells have been uncapped, and that gives you an idea of how effective the bee actually is. Like here, you can see they've uncapped quite a few. The ones that are dark here, those were already bees that had left. Those were open, but all of these were capped brood when they put the spray on it. And so compared to this, you can see they barely opened any. So these bees don't really have the VSH trait, whereas these bees, and there is a scoring rubric that you would use and count and come up.
So it's a spray?
Yes, it's a spray. It's a whole kit that you kind of do. Of course, she has to make money, repay her student loans for her doctorate. So, can't do everything for free. But
This is just to tell you how many have been uncapped.
yes,
Correct.
and that way, from that, you can deduce whether or not you have that trait of VSH or not.
So this is all getting into this area of beekeeping of being really precise about genetics in your hives and trying to control for it. And these tests are what let you kind of try to control that over time by saying we want hygienic queens. Now, this is one method that you can use to see if you're maintaining those traits or you're losing them. For a regular beekeeper, this is a lot to deal with because you're probably not going to be interested in raising queens. You're probably not going to be interested in testing every queen that you buy in the mail because there's nothing you can do anyway. So this gets into, at least in my opinion, this is
Yeah, and the thing is,
you really want to control what you're doing, and you're willing to put an effort of raising queens and measuring their traits and all that stuff.
and the thing is, once you measure it and you say, yes, this queen is VSH, you don't have to do it again as long as she's alive. So, you mark her or whatever, she's there. You never have to retest that hive until she's gone. And then check when she has a baby that's raised and becomes the queen, then you want to check that queen. So you really only have to check if it passes, you only have to check once while that queen's alive.
All about sharing what our experience with UBO.
Just yeah. See, that's a 70. See, he's got a score there. You can see the differences. You can see the differences. Maybe I should make that bigger. Right. You can see this one has a few here, but look at all those that they've uncapped.
So this is a really silly question. Whenever you go to do this at home, do you spray it in the hive?
Yes.
And replace that back in the hive and come back to it 2 hours?
Yeah. Yep. It's a kit. You have it has a little circle. And you put that on there and you spray. You take that off, put that frame back in, give it at least 2 hours, and then you come back and then you can do your assessment. And the spray, I don't remember exactly. I know the kit and all that. It's probably $150, couple $100, but it's good for X amount. You can do 5, 6, 10, whatever number it is in the vial.
So it doesn't hurt the brood that's in there. Just has to see whether.
I mean, it depends. Like I said, sometimes they can recap them and they'll live. Other times they might not. It depends on how old that brood and everything, what part they're in when you do that spray. It is very possible though. Those are done. They're done. They're gone. Yeah.
Because this is not about the bees. These are about the queens.
Yes.
So I got you. Yeah. So sacrificing some brood and bees to get the right queen.
I'm sorry.
There's a gentleman in Missouri about 5 hours away. His name's Corey Stevens. There's actually a video of him, I think, in the sidebar there. But he's been working
right
on the BSH query for almost 20 years now. He's been running treatment free for 14 of those years. So he's pretty sure he's cracked the BSH traits, and he's been working with the lady who was at a UVO to do the assessments and try to make it a little bit easier, but he's only 5 hours away. If you want to try to get these drivable, you have to get them shipped in the mail.
Yeah, it's a $199. This is the whole testing kit right there. That orange thing, that's what you would put down on as you're doing it. This is the injector thing, and it comes with a little vial, and you would spray it onto your bees. And those are the vials that have the mix and stuff. And you hook it up there, and there's a little cone. And then you come back, you take all that out. So of course, the initial expense is getting the whole kit, and then it's just a matter of replacing the actual solution there time after time. You don't have to rebuy a kit the whole time. But doctorates are expensive, I know that. So, she's got to make her money somehow. Got to pay back that student loan. All right. All right, I was going to actually try to find a sugar roll just to show. I meant to bring, like I said, that was my second thing. I was going to bring my actual little tester kit. So here's one with a, whoa. There we go.
Another measurement for the bees. Okay, so let's pick the hive. Holy.
Look at all the ants, huh?
Those are ants.
Yeah.
I've had that happen before. It took me like
Big
months
balls
to make those ants go away. Every time I get rid of them, they come right back.
Yep.
Just flip up the slide. See this? 3, and you shake that into the air. Okay, they're done. Now just fly around. And the ones that'll stay in there are all nurse bees usually. Which is what you want, because they're the ones.
Okay, so he's getting his bees together. Get your bees together.
You get my trusty half cup measurement. My sugar shake jar, what I do is I just shake all the gels to one corner. Then I put this down. And I shake them into the cup. Okay, so you get a half a cup, put them in there. Put the lid on. Now the rest of these girls can go back in the hive.
2 tablespoons of icing sugar. It doesn't really bear that totally, but it doesn't have exactly 2 tablespoons. Okay, so that's them. You'll see that they're all rolling around in those, hopefully knocking on mites. So just give it a bit of a roll around, like that. Okay, and then just put it beside somewhere out of the rain, out of the Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do the sugar shake. So I've got these guys here. Shake this around a bit more. I know it's annoying for them, but it's better than they dying of raw mites. And this is what I do. Okay, so I have a bowl here. I'll put this up so you can see that. I just put a thin layer of water. You want it to be white.
Yeah.
So you don't see the sugar anymore. If you put it on something clear,
Okay,
you may not
and
be
then what I do then
so
is
something white is pretty.
roll it with a ball.
Yeah, I use just a white paper plate.
What happens is the icing sugar dissolves in the water. Okay, and what you see, I don't know if you can see that, but there's an ant. You got a high ant count. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 varroa mites in there. That's 8. 8 varroa mites in there. Now, the threshold we use is the one that's not given to test in the book, and that's 3 or more. Okay, so they've got 7, so we need to do some treatment.
I mean, that's just one way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's basically what you do. If you're doing a sugar, if you're doing alcoholic, so you just kill them all, dump it out.
When you start testing, is there an indicator that you,
My answer to that is,
whether,
so guidance on this varies place to place. I would say minimally you want to check twice a year, maybe 3 times. And just, if you check, one of the reasons we want to check it like early season, late season is if you can catch the mites before your beehive really grows in population, then you can stop the mites from really taking over. And similarly, when you go into the winter, if you check and treat before you go into winter, you're not sending the mites in with your hive shrunk down. So those are 2 really good times to check. And I would say past that, if you wind up with a really high mite load at the beginning of spring, check again in summer, make sure you're actually okay again before you do the other. Some places do have to treat more than 3 times a year.
Yeah.
That would be my guidance.
Sounds like checking and using the strips is a pretty sound strategy.
The strips are a really compelling new thing to do.
Yeah, that's why I want to try them.
Once you start looking at Apigard, Apgar, and all that stuff, you've got to get a spreadsheet together about when you can use it, how, and all the things.
That's what was really neat about when I saw that and looking at reading up on it is that you don't really have to worry about the temperatures. You can do them when you have honey on. You can leave them on there because I'm lazy. I might not get, something that you have to take off right away. I might miss that date, but I think 40 some days I can remember to take it on,
It's only used on a global scale.
Yeah.
Especially with European standards being so strong.
Yeah.
More so than ours. It's kind of surprising in the last country.
Yeah. Well, it was developed overseas for an organic type approach. So, yeah.
The thing that's interesting about it, if I remember right, so the oxalic acid vapor, right? It's good at killing the adult mites, but does nothing
Right.
for the ones that have the eggs and the captive
Yeah.
food. because it's so short-lived, it just kills them and that's it. So it was good in the fall, because you can kill what's there, and hopefully you'd be all right to start with a low light load. But this, because it sits around so long, it just keeps killing them faster than they can reproduce, and that makes up for it. So that's really interesting.
Yep.
And it doesn't harm the honey if you want to harvest honey.
Yep, you can harvest the honey. As I said, the package itself just recommends having one box between, like if you have a bottom brood where you put the strips, and then if you have another brood box on top or whatever, don't put any strips there, and then honey. Or just a box.
I'm getting it in May or 2.
Congratulations.
Thank you. If I am thinking like a new colony of bees, I'll probably only have one brood box for a little while. If I put one super on top of that, I wouldn't want to have a treatment underneath it.
Right.
Or would it move into the, I guess I'm trying to figure out how that's gonna work out time-wise.
If you go to put another super on, then that top one will be fine for human consumption. That other one would be more to leave for the bees. Okay. Is the recommendation. Now, I can promise you, and I can tell you that I know for a fact, there's many people that don't do that, but I'm just saying that's the recommendation from the package. Just like we saw the guy handling them, he had gloves on, but you're supposed to wear a respirator even when you handle those. It's on the package to wear a respirator cleared for acid. You saw him, he's the one selling them, and he's, oh yeah, look at the package, these are really neat. So,
How would that apply for a long?
What's that?
How would that apply for a long?
The main thing you want to do is one for every, say, 2.5 to 3 frames. So just space it out that way. See, right now, my few are split. I only have 3 frames inside a box. So I'm only going to use one on the ones that I'm going to use. I'm barely going to use 3 or 4 right now. So that's why I said I'm going to definitely have some if anybody wants to try them. Yeah. So, anybody want my phone number in case you need to call me, get anything?
Sure. You got it?
It's 479, of course. 426 2603, and that's for me. And if hers is 2601.
I'm gonna have to cut this out of the YouTube video now.
Oh, I don't care. I give my students my number. It's all over the world. I don't care.
Do you make your own powdered sugar?
No.
You buy powdered sugar, it has cornstarch.
I buy the ones without the cornstarch. Yeah.
Because cornstarch.
Yeah, the cornstarch.
I didn't know it was a new beekeeper. I
Yeah.
investigated that. Cornstarch.
Yeah,
It's detrimental.
but that's why I was reading the studies, because I went to pay the extra expense to get the kind without the cornstarch. And then what I've read in the studies are, it doesn't matter which one you use, the bees don't actually live very much longer after you do them. So I don't know. They said in some cases the other bees killed them.
I mean, you can watch them and the bees go after them.
Yeah.
When I was learning, they were like, oh, they're cleaning them up.
Yeah, they're cleaning them up.
They clean them up pretty aggressively.
Yeah. No, they said that's what they said. They said they were finding they were actually getting killed by the other bees.
So I started just making my
Yeah.
powdered sugar.
Any other questions about anything that we kind of talked about?